Hello and welcome to day 9 of Kaldheim Spoilers. Before we get into going over the cards, I just want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and on this video. Also, be sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Jarvis_Moonbeam. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jarvis_Moonbeam. And if you want to join my Discord, you will find the link in the description of the video below. Now, onto the cards. So the first card today is Nico Defies Destiny. It's a blue and a white for an enchantment saga. Step 1, you gain 2 life for each foretold card you own in exile. Step 2, add a blue and white mana for spend this mana only to foretell cards or cast spells that have foretell. Step 3, return target card with foretell from your graveyard to your hand. So, beyond the fact that I hate foretell, this card is really strong, especially if you get foretell to be viable in a deck. The life gain, I don't care about that part of the card. Where I care about it is it replaces the mana that you spend on it in step 2, and it's graveyard recursion in step 3. So you can get back a counter spell, you can get back one of your creatures that got removed. It's very good. If someone's able to make a foretell deck work, it is going to be an Azorius control deck, and this card will be played in it. Of course, until foretell is fleshed out more and you have more cards, it's not going to be a commander card. It's only going to be a standard and historic card, most likely. And if you can make a foretell work in limited, a limited card. Arnie slays the troll for red and a green. It's another enchantment saga. Step 1. Target creature you control buys up to 1 target creature you don't control. Step 2. Add red. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. Step 3. You gain life equal to the greatest power amongst creatures you control. This is an Inscription of Abundance broken down into 3 parts. If you kick Inscription of Abundance, it's all 3 of these. But without kicking it, you can only pick 1. So this is the kick version of Inscription of Abundance broken down over 3 turns. 2 mana for a fight spell, pretty good. It acts as a removal right there. Step 2, you get one of those red mana back, and you get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to a target creature, so you grow your creature. So step 2, turn 2, Arnie slays the troll. This is just figuratively. You have a Brushfire Elemental out that you crack a Fabled Passage on that is a 5/5 that you go and use that to go and fight with. Step 2, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on that Brushfire Elemental. It becomes a 3/3. So you could then go on, so that would be turn, it would really be turn 3 into turn 4, and then turn 5, you could have a total of a 7/7 Brushfire Elemental, making it so either on turn 4 or turn 5, playing your Great Henge for only 2 green. Perfect. Plus it ramps you a little bit. And then the gain life equal to the greatest power. Yet again, life gain isn't something that really does it for me. But this card is going to see play in every single Gruul aggro deck. There's no reason not to play it. Play it in Standard, play it in Historic, play it in Commander, and play it in Limited if you go and pull it. Finn the Fangbearer, 1 and a green. Legendary creature, human warrior, that's a 1/3 with Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So you're still dealing the damage to the player, but then you're also giving them poison counters. So I think a lower powered standard deck that you might see play is Death Touch Tribal. There's already Death Touch Tribal in Historic, so this will probably get slotted into that. I think this sees the 99 of a lot of commander decks. Some people might even build around this as a commander, but this sees the 99. In Limited, I'd play it. I don't think it sees a lot of play. I don't think it's something that you want to go and build around, but I'd play it. Where it gets even crazier, if you have Vorinclex with this card, all you need to do is deal combat damage with a 3 Death Touch creatures with Vorinclex out, and you've killed your opponent. Or you can give him Double Strike, and then it's... Say you give Finn Double Strike, you deal 4 points of 4 poison counters with 1 combat stab. Yeah, pretty good. Return Upon the Tide, 4 and a black. It's a sorcery with return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's an elf creature, create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, and you can foretell it for 3 and a black. It's too expensive. It's not good. It won't see play. I don't even see the point in Golgari Elves playing this when you could go and play better cards. Even a Agadine putting 2 mana into Agadine's Awakening is better than this. I don't like it at all. Battle Mammoth, 3 and 2 green for an elephant. That's a 6/5 with trample. Whenever a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. First of all, that Mammoth is badass. Second of all, this might take the slot of Elder Gargaroth in some decks. It could also be a sideboard card for people that play a lot of kill spells, so this could be on your top end. It could very well be a standard or historic card that sees a lot of play. It could also, on the flip side, be a standard or historic card that never sees play. I don't really think it's commander viable, but I'd be excited to see if it sees standard or historic play, and it's an absolute bomb in limited. Critical Mistake, 2 and 2 black. All creatures that aren't of the creature type of your choice get -3/-3 until end of turn. The problem with this card is it's -3/-3 for 4 mana. Typically that would be fine, but it doesn't do anything against mono green decks or against Gruul decks, because you still have that Lovestruck Beast, the Questing Beast, the Elder Gargaroth. If you stack them, maybe, but I don't like it. Other than that, I think it could be a sideboard card in a Dimir control deck against a Rogues build or against a mono red burn or mono red aggro build. Red deck wins. In historic, you're not going to have it see play because it has better options than cards like Cry of the Carnarium, or there's another one that does very similar things. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Grizzled Rider, 4 and a green for a Elf Warrior, 5/5. It's not going to see play anywhere. Just skip right by it. Ravenous Lindworm, it's 4 and 2 green for a creature worm. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. It's a 6/6. Top end card in limited, otherwise not played anywhere. Master Scald, 4 and a white for a Dwarf Warrior, that's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to hand. If it said return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield, this would be played in a heartbeat, but it's at common, so it's not going to say that. So, it might see play. Probably not, though. Dwarfs Hammer, 2 and a red for an artifact equipment that when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature token that then attach Dwarf's Hammer to it. It gets +3/+0 and has trample, and the equip cost is 3. I want to state what I feel about how I feel about this card, like I feel about every other uncommon equipment in the set. They're just not very good, and I don't see the point in playing them in any format, limited included. Glorious Protector, 2 and 2 white, flash blind. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield. And it has Foretell for 2 and a white. I really like this card. I like this card in Yorion decks. Doom Foretold decks even. You flash this in on your opponent's end step. Remove your Yorion and any of the other creatures, exile them. Then on your turn, you shatter the sky. This card is good, and then you get all your Yorion, everything enters back, and you get all those triggers. Then Yorion triggers, exile everything again, everything comes back. It's a fantastic card. This is going to get slotted into Yorion as per Doom Foretold decks very quickly. Past that, I don't know if it's going to see any historic play. It very well could. This is a good protection card in a commander deck that doesn't have any angels in the deck other than this one for you to go and board wipe with. I like the card a lot. I really do. Erectile Form for 1 and a green. It's an enchantment aura that has enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 regen as every creature type. I would play this in limited, and the reason why I would play this in limited is because of flyers. I won't play this in standard, I won't play this in historic, I won't play this in commander. Litjara Mirror Lake. It enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it for a blue, and for 2 green and a blue, you sacrifice it. A token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, and you can only activate this anytime you could cast a sorcery. It's okay. Simic, Sultai, they're not really seeing play right now in standard. They fell out of favor for more either aggro decks or control decks. There really isn't a place for Simic or Sultai in standard right now, so I don't see it seeing play there. Historic, possibly. Especially in those Sultai ramp decks, this could be a good 1 of or 2 of in those decks. I'm still not a huge fan of these uncommon lands, though. Disdainful Stroke. It's 1 and a blue. It counters target spell with CMC 4 or greater. It's a reprint. It's not going to see play. Litjara Glade Warden for 3 and a green. It's a shapeshifter. That's a 3/3. Has Changeling, and for 2 and a green, you tap it and exile a creature card from your graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery. I don't like it. I wouldn't play it. I don't even think you play this in limited. I don't think you play this in any format. Doomscar Titan for 4 and 2 red. It's a giant berserker that's a 4/4 that when it enters the battlefield, creatures control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. And has Foretell for 4 and a red. This is a bomb in limited. This could be a game ender in limited. Especially if you have a way to also give your creatures trample. In standard, maybe in a giant deck. In historic, probably nowhere. In commander, probably nowhere. But possibly in standard. Ascent of the Worthy, 1, a white and a black. Enchantment Saga, step 1, choose a creature you control. Until your next turn, all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control is dealt to that creature instead. Step 2, repeat step 1. Step 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a flying counter on it. That creature is an angel warrior in addition to its other types. So, the first thing that I thought of with this, and that I know other people have thought of with this, is putting in a Mardu deck with Brash Taunter. And step 1, target Brash Taunter. Step 2, target Brash Taunter. That could do a lot of damage. Other than that, maybe it sees play. The problem is it's only damage that's be dealt to creatures you control. And in most Orzhov decks right now, whether it's Orzhov, Esper, they're more control. Because the only other thing you have is Orzhov Clerics. Otherwise, typically they're going to be Esper decks. So I really don't like that for it. Graveyard Recursion is nice. I just don't see the play in Standard or Historic. It very well could see play in Commander. I just don't know. I think this is a card that people will meme around though, and just try to build a fun deck to have fun. Colossal Plow. It's 2 generic mana for a vehicle. That is a 6/3. Whenever it attacks, you add 3 white mana and you gain 3 life, because white only knows how to gain life. It doesn't know how to do anything else. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. And it has crew of 6. So that Ox that crews with its toughness can crew this by itself. That's what you call a flavor win, because Oxes pull plows. I don't know. It's not going to see play. If I would go and draft this, though, with the Ox, I'd play both of them. Hands down, no questions asked. But I don't see the point in playing it. It's a ritual effect that you might not even take advantage of. Raven Wings for 2 generic mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, has flying, and is a bird in addition to its other types. Equip 2. The adding of a creature type doesn't really do a lot here for me. However, just like you have the Kite Sail or whatever wings in Zendikar Rising that people play just because of flyers, you'll see this played in Limited for the same reason. It doesn't have any functionality beyond Limited, though. Maja, Breda Guard Protector, 2 a green and 2 white for a legendary human warrior, who is also a 2/3. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white human warrior creature token. I don't like this card. I don't like Anthem effects on creatures. I'm not a huge fan of Anthem effects in general, really. I don't like just getting a 1/1 white human creature, which is really a 2/2 as long as Maja is still on the board. Some people are going to build this as their commander. I don't think you see seeing play in Standard or Historic, though. Probably will be played in Limited because it is a 2/3. That makes everything bigger, and in Limited, that is mostly a creature-based attack format. Warhorn's Call, 4 and a white. It's an instant. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn, and has Foretell for 2 and a white. I hate combat tricks. Don't play this card. Battlefield Raptor, for a single white. It's a creature bird flying first strike, 1/2. Limited All-Star, won't see play anywhere else. Storyseeker, 1 and a white. Dwarf Cleric that has lifelink, that's a 2/2. Yet again, Limited All-Star, won't see play anywhere else. And the final card for today is Arnie, Broken Brow. 2 and a red with haste. It's a human berserker that's a 3/3. Has Boast of 1 generic. You may change Arnie Broken Brow's base power to 1 plus the greatest power among other creatures you control until end of turn. So, going to red. If you're playing this in Standard, the most played red card in Standard is Bone Crusher Giant. So what happens if you boast this with Bone Crusher Giant out? Arnie then becomes a 5/3 instead of a 3/3, so it pumps by 2 just for 1 additional mana. Where it gets even better is you activate Castle Embereth, give all your creatures the +1/+0, so that Bone Crusher Giant is now a 5/3. You then go and play the Boast cost. This still gets the +1/+0 because all your creatures get +1/+0. But then you get the 5 cost, so it's then instead of a 3/3, it becomes a 7/3. So this is going to be a card that sees play. Its downfall is it is a legendary creature. That's what held Torbrand back. This could be held back for the same reason. Uh, it's a lot of fun though, and I think it's going to see play in a red deck wins type scenario. Probably as a 2 of, no more than a 3 of. I don't think people are really going to go play 4 ofs of this card. It's going to see play for sure and be a lot of fun for a lot of people. But with this card ending the cards for today, what do you think? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What are your favorite cards that were unveiled today? Any feedback? Please leave it. I want to get better. But enjoy the rest of your day.